Hey guys, it's Angel. Welcome back to the channel. And today we're taking a look at a very interesting different aircraft. This is an EV. In fact, it's the Eviation Alice. Yeah, the pun is in the name. But hey, it works. This is an electric aircraft. And we get three variations of this. We get a commuter variation, an exec, and a cargo. Now, it's a real-world concept aircraft. And this is the second version of it. It was first flew in 2022. And it's planned to be reintroduced in 2027. So it's still under development. There have been some pretty major changes along the way, and the version is based on this version 2. It kind of sucked. However, they have modelled it based on the expected flight conditions rather than the observed ones. So it's actually a lot better in the sim, as it should have been in real life. Either way, it's an Israeli design, and it is 95% composite with two electric motors, the T-tail there. Eviation was founded in 2015 by Omar Bey Yochai and Omri Uregev and Aviv Zidon. I mispronounced those most likely. But either way, it's of course originally was a scale model built up to being a real world one. It has flown. In fact, it was at the Paris Air Show in 2019, which was the single pusher prop variation. And it's the second variation. The third one's in development currently. So this has been produced by LivtoAir, who gave us the flying car and a couple of other pretty exciting aircraft. Now, in sim terms, this has a full custom electrical system, custom G3000 system based on the working title, full EFB, custom WI sounds, which, yes, an electric aircraft does have sounds, and we mentioned the variations. I will show you those insides of those variations whilst we're talking about this stuff right now, along with some deliveries and things as well here. And we have an interactive cabin. There's one cargo livery, 6 commuters, and 7 luxury. And a working charger too. Now its performance is about 450 nautical mile range, 300 knot max speed, stall speed of 80 knots, climb rate of 2,000 feet a minute, surface ceiling of 32,000 feet, and it charges itself. I'm not kidding. Let's go take a look at this aircraft, shall we? So we're here in the cockpit here with the G3000 system, and the first thing I'll do is I'll open some features here in the tablet. Now this could be moved if you don't like it where it is, which is kind of cool. And we'll call the charger in there as well. And then we'll go outside and take a look around. Yeah, it looks like a Tesla supercharger that's been plonked next to it. I find that kind of funny, to be honest, but it is what it is. So, sim texture and detail-wise, modelling-wise, largely composite aircraft, so not going to be a ton of panel detail. But cool things like we have, of course, baggage here in the hold. And from the specific view, you can actually close that, but I need to be on the inside first. There's our front entry. The floor looks very, well, it looks cheap from the outside, but inside looks a bit better. It's commuter one. So not much of a commuter service, really, when you've only got like 10 seats, but it's not like, oh, okay, Captain Whiskers is right there for us. Very sleek design on the front. Very low profile looking. And yes, that's a supercharger. We'll go look at that in a second. So we'll go back inside here. Now, with our various viewpoints, we can go to some of these things. We can actually operate the door from here. And the cargo door there. So we can open and close those as we wish to. And here's the charger. We can attach that, we can set our different modes, and we can actually charge the battery. It's currently 100%, so we don't need to. And here's our chocks as well. So, let's get ourselves set back into the right position here. Remove charger, close the port, and we'll remove those chocks, ready to rock and roll. I'm going to look around the cockpit here. So inside, fairly simple. Of course, we have our electronic systems, which we're going to switch the batteries on for now, so you can see some of these. We'll have those coming up now. Interior, like I said, normal seating in this version. We'll have shown you, of course, already the executive and cargo. But let's pull up our checklists here. And we'll take this for a spin. So, startup is chocks, flight building app done, batteries, weights, avionics on. Battery 1 and 2, 2 and 3% check. So, we can actually check off these on our list. Let's get our numbers here. Everything seems good otherwise. Battery 2 and 3. on. If you want it's configured, autopilot. Oh, no, go back. We'll ignore the pressurization for now. Battery 2 and 3 engaged. They are. Power 2 and 3 engaged. State of charge. Check. So, up here. Looking good here. Everything is set and correct. Now, a key feature to pay attention to, of course, is the thrust mode. Taxi lets you get about 50 knots. This is a improved power, and that is full power. 700 and 900 watts. So, definitely remember to change that, otherwise you will not be able to take off. So, taxi is tox are out. Thrust mode to taxi, which we are in. Flaps to take off, so we'll set flaps to take off. And if you notice, the engines are on right now, but nothing's happening. Watch happens when I throw the throttles forwards. And throttles to 0. And they're going to stop, basically, as soon as they actually spool down. Because it's electric. There's literally 0 idle, because why have idle when they don't need to turn? So, takeoff with taxi lights, landing lights, thrust mode is required, power for takeoff. Okay, so we'll get ourselves out of here. And we'll go give this a bit of a try. Like I said, you can move the EFB to here, or to other locations. I do quite like having it there for now. So let's get ourselves taxi, shall we? Now, you can hear it inside, which is a surreal experience, because it is very, very quiet, isn't it? Outside, however, very interesting sounds, actually, because you are getting a sound, even though it is electric. Most of which being, of course, the props turning. It's a beautiful design of an aircraft, I will say. Very, very sleek and sexy. Very tiny wing, really, for the body size. And that kind of almost sea creature-esque kind of curved top with flat bottom. There we go. And so we're trying to go, even if I go to full power here on my throttles, we're going to top out about 50 knots here. This is the most you can get. So taxi power will not let you exceed about 50. And we'll just use this to get along here. Can't even take off with this. It's absolutely fine. Yeah, 50. That's us. Done. So powering back to idle. Bit of a very rapid taxi here on the taxiway at Alton Line. Okay. Should be at the runway now. In just a second. So, 22 euros from Sim Market right now. I think that's a pretty reasonable price, to be honest. You're getting a really decent amount of unusual but very serviceable aircraft from this, which I think is a big difference to me. The custom electronic system is really cool. The custom G3000 is cool. The sounds are great. I like the fact you've got 3 variants as well. And it is very unique. So it depends on price. I've been quoted $18.99 by the developer, but it's at 22 euros, of course, with European tax on Sim Market. So that's a factor as well. So here we are at runway 28. We'll enter here. Okay. And we'll get ourselves set up on the runway for takeoff. It is strangely quiet, I will give it that. Interior texturing and modelling design is a little bit on the Lionheart end, which is fine. But it's definitely a concept, so it's going to have a little bit of difference to that. Okay. Into power mode. We are set. Okay. Ready for full power. Of course, got our lighting down here. Got trim settings down there. Let's do this thing, shall we? Definitely different sound there. Speed's climbing very quickly for us. And we're going to see what happens when we get a bit more speed here. Ease back on the controls and pull her away. I left my gear lever up, which is a thing I do sometimes in the sim. So the gear, pretty standard stuff on this aircraft. Retracting cleaning within. And let's pull those flaps up as well. Now, the range mode, of course, is your best economy for flight, so want to use that. But being battery powered, you're going to have really unlimited RPM to an extent outside of problems. But the cool part is, watch our power. See, that's the top there? 700 watts. I'm going to go to idle. And because we're in the air, and obviously that's going to turn the propellers, right? They're going to windmill, because they're not turning under power. Welcome to KERS, or even dynamic braking in a locomotive, because now our power is on minus 52, because we are generating battery power. If you climb enough and you descend, you'll charge the batteries in this aircraft. Yeah, you'll charge your own batteries, because right now we're on 98%. I'm going to see how long I can leave this here before we get too close to the water. But yeah, you can actually technically, and you've got range obviously based on your current power charge. Keeping ourselves in the air somewhat. I want to see this change. Can we gain a percent? Probably not. We've used a lot of power comparatively.
1,000.
Eep. But the theory still stands. You can charge the batteries by descending on idle and literally allowing it to charge the batteries, which is super cool. It's like the KERS system in F1 cars. It's like dynamic braking on trains, although they just basically get rid of the gained energy from those motors turning into dynamos as heat. So it's kind of useless. But KERS is probably the best example. And the way EVs will use braking, dynamic braking, to basically charge their batteries, same thing applies to this, but in an aeroplane. So it's a fantastic concept in the real world, even if in the sim it's, you know, way more functional than the real version is. Imagine one day having aircraft that operate like this. The systems are super simple, everything's super functional, and you have a far greener power source where you can actually create your own power on descent. Whether it will become efficient enough to actually not be zero sum, but at least majorly gain back will be different. And of course the big drag with EV environmentally friendliness is charging batteries, because that's where you lose the fight with the environment. Okay, we'll idle out here. We're roughly on downwind here for Altenrhein, so I'll bring us round and down.
2,500.
And of course those props generating power does really tend to add a bit of drag to the aircraft here, so there's our runway. We're going to be a little bit tight in the pattern turn here. We're very tight, actually. Unlike a turboprop that can actually do reverse thrust, this can't. We're going to do a quick 270 to our left, because I'm too high here. So I'll give it some power now. We'll bring around, try and keep it nice and balanced. Let that nose drop a little bit as well whilst we're at it. Probably bring the power down a little bit further because I'm using a bit too much. Yeah, I'm going to get the power rather than the throttle. Because it is. It's not really a throttle anymore. It's the power lever. It's a really weird concept to think of when it comes to an aircraft. But it certainly flies very well. There's our airport. Perfect. 270 will bring us round onto runway heading here. Got our first notch of flaps in, second notch of flaps there. To full. Let the nose drop here. 80 is our stall speed, because it's a very clean designed tiny little wing, so we don't want to get too slow. There we go. We'll leave it on power mode, of course, in case we need to go around. Not that I intend to. It is quite slippery, given that it's a very smooth composite design. So bring her down here. Really cool aircraft, actually. I do like the look of it. It's definitely very original. And really kind of fun to fly, actually. Great visibility, being fun for touring around. We'll bring some power on here so we don't lose this. Keep it about 90, so a 10 over stall. Of course, another benefit of it being electrically powered and instant power application is it's like flying a turboprop with zero lag. So it's not like flying a piston because you've obviously got a very different behavior, but it's a turboprop that acts like one. Instant power. But so much more torque than a piston engine, perhaps, I think is the best way to describe it. More torque instantly and exactly when you want it. So if I want to round out, I can just go
200
and blip it and up it goes. Here we are.
100 50 40
Okay.
30
Bring the nose up.
20
A little bit of power.
10
I flattered that one. Yeah, so sitting at idle, it will definitely want a bit more power on approach. So keep some power on, with it being obviously engines at the rear, very small wing. You're going to want to have a bit more power. That will let you actually bring the nose up and round out. I do not have any power on there. So a bit like when you're flying a jet, jets tend to want a bit of power on approach. So approaching a jet and idle, the nose will eventually keep dropping. Same thing applies to this. Your nose just keeps dropping until you apply power. So I was thankfully very low to the ground when that happened. I did not get the ability to round out, so I kind of plopped unceremoniously onto the ground, which is not very ideal. And we're still in power mode, so switch to taxi mode here. So we're in our ground handling operation mode. And unlike a turboprop, no runaway on the ground. You just whatever speed you like, frankly. So peaceful, so serene. You know, the flying car was a really cool concept from LivtoAir. This is fantastic to see a functional, if slightly fictionalized, version of a real-world electric aircraft. Because obviously electric engines are operating. They're in some of the Beavers, I believe, flying in Seattle with Kenmore. So it is the future of aviation, whether we like it or not. And whether or not that lives to be seen, this is certainly a good try at doing it in Flight Sim. Thanks for watching. Bye!